Terran versus Terran. Let's jump into this, guys. Spawning in the bottom left position as our blue Terran player coming in for Axiom Esports. He took game number 1 in a pretty, thing just kind of snowballed out of control after all the Mutalisks died. Give it up for Axiom's Ryung. And spawning in the bottom right position as our red Terran player. He is, the newly signed to Mouz Sports, was formerly of Karante Esports Club. It is LucifroN. And he actually joined Mouz with his brother Vortex. So both of them are now on Mouz Sports. And Mouz Sports actually is quite a sick lineup. It's pretty crazy. What is it? Like Mana, Illusion, Hero Marine. Mouz is really starting to step up as one of those higher level teams. And, these matches are how you build that brand. You get your guys ready for Challenger League, Premier League, and all sorts of things. But neither of these players have really started to do anything that deviates too much. As far as Terran versus Terran goes, almost everyone will take their gas by 15 supply. Going gasless is incredibly risky since it leaves you with pretty much only biological units like Marines, which, to be fair, suck versus Hellbats. And that is the last thing you want to do. Now, neither of these players are actually going to open up with gas, though. And it's okay, because since neither of them are opening with gas, then I guess neither of them have to worry about being caught off guard, at least by really fast Hellbat drops. They can still, of course, do that sort of play off of 2 bases. There's nothing forced. And a very small thing to note, though, is that Ryung is going to actually finish his 17th supply SCV before getting his orbital command. So LucifroN will have his orbital command complete about 13 seconds ahead. That's going to give him, basically, as far as mining income goes, he's going to be 1 mule mine ahead. So there's nothing serious. But there's that command center now for LucifroN. He's going to immediately take a refinery. His Marine dancing around, trying off. Wants to deny the scout, but the SCV knows about the left side gas, not the right side one just yet. Marine will kill it. And Ryung's going to do the same exact thing. So this is pretty much what you have to do. You cannot stick to bio, really, as far as openers go. It's just not safe, not enough hit points to actually survive against something like a 2-base Hellbat drop, since it can also hit a lot harder. Especially on a map like this, is pretty much direct airspace on Newkirk Precinct. This is not the ladder version that was recently implemented by Blizzard. Still, we're sticking to the plan as far as the maps go, to keep the same pool throughout the entire course of the tournament. Now, LucifroN, well, both players actually, their command centers are going to be done. Factories are on the way. Going to see reactors, and what it looks like is we're going to have a pretty macro-y TvT. Just based on the premise that neither of these guys did go for that crazy fast Hellbat drop. So, what I'm most interested to see is if someone goes for something like a 2-base Hellbat, and off of that, if either of these players are going to go mech, I personally love to see mech in Terran versus Terran. I think the positional play is among the best, really, in the game. It's the only matchup where siege tanks are still a viable army composition unit. So I'd say it's actually the most, TvT is probably the most positional matchup. But LucifroN's going to open up. He's going to get this armory and the starport. So it does look like he's going to move into this Hellbat play. Now the factory's about to finish for Ryung. The question is, what's he going to do with this? There's the starport starting now. Where is the armory? There we go. So both of these players going for the 2-base Hellbat drops. I cannot blame them. It's such a strong tactic to go for. There's almost no reason not to go for Hellbat drops. They're so cost effective. It's actually one of the things Blizzard is looking at nerfing. Perhaps making the Blue Flame upgrade work for them. That sort of thing. But the armory is done for LucifroN now. We're going to see the first Hellbats making their way onto the field. The medevac is actually going to finish perfectly in time with those Hellbats. As well as some Hellions coming out for Ryung. So the Hellions, of course, you can use a bit defensively. You mostly want to use them to scout to make sure you're not going to get all in or anything really weird like that. I like Ryung's use of the Widow Mine on the high ground. If anything that tries to walk by could get picked off, or if you tried to drop on the corner. It's a small touch, but it's kind of interesting to see. And I think even more interesting, and a dead giveaway that LucifroN's going to go mech, is he is going to immediately get this +1 vehicle weapons. And as far as the vehicle weapons goes for like Hellbat versus Hellbat, it doesn't actually do anything. I don't think it'll kill anything any faster. Hellbats have such high burst damage that the upgrades don't really matter in the early game, but the first Hellbat drop is about to make its way into the main base of Ryung, and at the same time, Ryung's going to go drop 2 mines and 2 Hellions. Here, the Hellbat drop comes into the main base of Ryung. LucifroN's trying to find an opening. He's actually going to run his 2 Hellions into the natural of Ryung, and this is actually a really nice play here. Ooh, picking off a couple of SCVs there, but these Hellions are really starting to do work on the natural expansion, and when these SCVs mass up, he's going to just drop right on top of the Hellbats. He's trying to use the Hellbat-Hellion combo to take out the Hellbats, which is a pretty nice touch, but the Vikings are going to be able to get him, and now we have those Hellions with the mines in the base of LucifroN. He's got 1 mine in each of those bases. He's going to take him out with the SCVs, and the Hellbat shop gets cleaned up, so LucifroN actually seems to be taking a little bit more damage. Those mine doing a pretty reasonable amount. And of course, the mine gets a hit on the SCVs, and then it's, you know, 1 shot for the Hellions. But it looks like neither of these players really taking too much, and ooh, the medevac going to fall. Both of these players actually losing their medevacs. And 7 SCVs killed compared to 2 killed for Ryung. The total worker count, 34 to 40. So LucifroN's drop did pay off a little bit better than Ryung's. I mean, that's kind of one of those X equals 5, you know, it's given things. The Hellbat drops are just so much more cost effective than anything like a Widow Mine drop, because it's hard to get SCVs to stack up enough. And unlike Protoss or Zerg, one AoE blast of the mines does not kill off an SCV. But Ryung, he has a Hellbat drop prepared to move into the natural expansion of LucifroN. He's moving a drop in towards the main. He wants to hit both at the same time and really just abuse the multitasking of our Mouse Sports Terran. At the same time, LucifroN's going to drop into that natural expansion, but there's a bunker and a missile turret. There is absolutely no way that LucifroN will be able to breach that. And here comes Ryung. He's going to move in towards the main base. The natural drop is about to hit right now. And at the same time, that drop's heading into the main mineral line. Will LucifroN be able to defend this in time? The main SCV mineral line starting to take a bit of fire here. Not losing too much just yet. The natural expansion's getting hit. But LucifroN, he's not losing really much here in the natural. The main base, though, actually getting quite a few nice hits off Ryung's killed 14 SCVs so far. Really nice plays. He's going to try to get on top of more of these. 16 have died. And that was what Ryung needed. He's managed to pull himself in a much more even position now. LucifroN's down to 35 SCVs versus 40. So nice catch by Ryung. But we do have to keep in mind that Ryung focused a lot of his micro, his attention on that. His 3rd command center is just starting. LucifroN's 3rd command center, done. LucifroN already has 3 factories. We're just seeing 2 extra factories being added for Ryung. He is going to be going for mech. Hellbat drop does get picked off by Ryung. But LucifroN's got his infrastructure set up much earlier, it seems. The 3rd base is up faster, the 3 factories set up faster, but Ryung just has more stuff. He's been producing Hellbats constantly, and this is a pretty scary timing to actually have to deal with. You know, there's a lot of Hellbats coming in here with a medevac and some Viking support for Ryung. This is going to be a hard frontal push to hold. LucifroN, he does have a lot of Hellbats himself. He does have 2 siege tanks, and I think once these tanks siege, he should be fine to hold this attack off. He is trying to be careful, though, in case the medevac tries to bring them into the main. But I think LucifroN should be able to stop this. He's not really not that scary of a setup. The Vikings are trying to go after this command center, though. LucifroN will have to land that, and here come the Hellbats and the Marines. He might just move in here. I think he realizes, though, with that siege tank there, he cannot just dive him. And ooh, these Vikings are trying to get away. He's actually trying to pick away at these medevacs of LucifroN. Does get one of them for free, and Ryung, he's doing a bit of damage here for absolutely nothing. Just free damage. Missile turret's getting some work in, though, and that actually is really going to hurt Ryung, losing a Viking like that for free. But Ryung, at the same time, somehow managed to drop a Hellbat into the main base. Not able to really kill too much more. Only about an extra SCV or so. And LucifroN has his 5 factory core. He is ready to rock and pump out tons and tons of mech. Ryung actually getting just set up with that as well. I would like to point out, though, that LucifroN, although he did have the 3rd command center faster, Ryung's 4th CC is already done. He will be able to very, very quickly move into additional upgrades if he wants to. I like that Ryung is scouting out with this barracks. He needs to make sure, of course, that he's not going to need to make any more orbitals or factories, for that matter, because I don't see this barracks living much longer. It's the pilot, whoever's driving this barracks, just like, why me? Now, Ryung does know about the fourth base location, at least. He's keeping his eyes on it. And we see LucifroN throwing down some scans. He wants to know what Ryung is up to. He wants to know where the army positioning is, the saturation on the third base. And the saturation on the third is important because it tells him how long he's had that third base. It tells him how long he's been rallying SCVs there. It tells him how much attention he's been focusing on that. And I do want to point this out, though. Right now, LucifroN, he has had that upgrade advantage. And the most important upgrade, I think, in the game for TvT is the +2 attack on the siege tanks. Once you have +2 attack, your tanks just do so much more damage to the other tanks. Even if a tank has +1 armor with +2 or even +1 versus unupgraded siege tanks, the number of attacks that it takes for a siege tank to kill another siege tank while in siege mode goes from 4 to 3. And when you consider that it takes a siege tank quite a while to actually fire off a shot, it's actually a really big deal. But LucifroN wants to push him towards the third base of Ryung. If he can catch Ryung out of position, he could do a lot of damage. The Vikings are starting to get into a bit of a fight here. Ryung doesn't look like he actually has enough anti-air to hold this off, and that means these medevacs full of Hellbats won't be able to do too much. Now, of course, Ryung would love to just drop these medevacs of Hellbats right on top of LucifroN's siege tanks, but no, he might swing around and go for the natural at the main base. Yeah, actually, those Vikings are going to force him to flee, and LucifroN's going to try to catch them with his other Vikings. Oh, man, losing all of this for free would really suck for Ryung. He wants to make something of these drops. He's going to at least unload everything. The medevac does empty out in the third base. Those SCVs should be safe, but that drop actually is really being annoying for Ryung. He's actually got tucked in behind the main base now. He has a lot of places that he could choose to go. He's going to throw down some scans. I think these players want to know who's in the center. They want to have control over the watchtower. That gives those tanks so much vision. But LucifroN catching those 3 medevacs and all those Hellbats for free was really, really important. And now we actually see him with a bit of a supply lead because, well, I mean, a Hellbat medevac is 6 supply. So I mean, you lose 3 of them, that's 18 right there. That's your difference as far as these two guys are concerned. LucifroN is setting himself up nicely in the center of the map. His +2 attack done. He actually got the +1 vehicle plating to kind of counteract any kind of only +1 attack from Ryung. He understands that the attack upgrade advantage for siege tanks is stupidly important when you're playing versus other siege tanks. Now, we do have a bunch of missile turrets up here for Ryung. The problem is he can't cover all of this area. And while LucifroN has this sort of chokehold position, he can kind of dictate the pace of the game as to where he wants to attack. He can force LucifroN to be the defensive player, and Ryung to be the defensive player. And we do have Ryung going up for this 5th base. Hellbat up, though, for LucifroN is headed in there. It's causing these SCVs to flee. They are scattering. And, yeah, there he goes. He's inside the main base. He's trying to find some SCVs to kill. Unfortunately, not too much. He's going to at least kill his missile turret. Can't blame him for that. And LucifroN's trying to get a better position on the army of Ryung, but not really going to work too well. The tanks are starting to unload on each other. These Hellbats, he might actually get into a bit of a fight here. I'm not sure if Ryung wants to take this. His tanks are too spread out. He actually doesn't have all of them sieged either. LucifroN could push into this if he really wanted to. He's got a nice amount of units on the east side. He could go for something like a flank. I feel like that would be incredibly risky. I like that he's holding the center position with the watchtower and then moving at the rest of his army at the same time. He's keeping himself safe from counterattacks by keeping his army split up in this way. Now Ryung is going to move into... oh, I kind of like this. He's going to move himself into some starport switches. But the Hellbat jumps for LucifroN, hitting that 4th base. He's actually starting to kill a lot of SCVs and mules. So yeah, really great damage being done by our Mouse Sports Terran player. And well, this Marine, poor guy got poked to death by those drilling claws, I guess you could say. So far, 21 SCVs killed by Ryung, 19 by LucifroN. The game is essentially even as far as economy goes. But keep in mind, Ryung was mining off of that 4th base for a little bit longer. Ryung has his 5th base now, and he's adding on a bunch. We actually see Corvid Reactor for LucifroN. Durable materials, I really like that one. I'd like to see something like building armor, or high-sec auto-tracking instead, but to each their own. Raven production is going for LucifroN, and both of these players are getting ready to switch into that Sky Terran late-game setup. which is kind of cool to see. Actually trying to find where LucifroN's starports are. I must be blind. Okay, they're all right here below his 4th base. And the Ravens will be very good versus the Vikings because they have the Seeker Missile ability, they have the point defense drone. But I don't know how much anti-air actually exists here for both of these players. Let's take a look into their how much they each exactly have. 12 Vikings for LucifroN, 10 for Ryung. But LucifroN has the power of Ravens on his side. He's actually going to be moving up to 6 Ravens very shortly, and this makes LucifroN a scary man. He's going to have lots of Seeker Missiles available. He might even have some point defense drones, which are arguably even better once you spam a couple of those Seeker Missiles in a Terran versus Terran engagement. But he's moving up here with a lot of these Hellbats and these tanks. He has +3 attack right now for Ryung. He's got the +1 armor as well. LucifroN, though, he's got 2-2 on his mech, and he's actually going to go for +3 armor rather than +3 attack. So this is kind of interesting, but LucifroN also has high ground. Yeah, he has the high ground because he has Ravens. So if the Vikings actually get into a full-on fight, then the Ravens can throw down the Seeker Missiles, and he's basically going to be saying, yeah, well, you're either going to lose on your couple of your Vikings, or you're going to have to, well, just split everything up and give up the fight, really. And both of these players are moving towards that crazy late game. We have the durable materials and the Corvid reactor for Ryung. He's realizing, okay, some Ravens would be nice here. And the thing about this map, and one of the reasons why it was changed up so much, is because you do end up in these stalemate situations, especially TvT. It's so easy to split the map. LucifroN was like, I have a tiny lead, but it's not enough of a lead to actually just kill you. So what I'm going to do is just cut the map straight in half. And actually, we should have at least one battlecruiser on the field. Yeah, Ryung does have a battlecruiser, a 1-1 battlecruiser. Not bad at all. And yeah, this map is actually pretty well split. Now, the question is, who's going to throw the Seekers out first? What are they going to be targeting? Of course, you can go for the tanks. 2 Seeker Missiles do kill a siege tank. You can go for the clumps of Hellbats, though, and get rid of the meat shield. Ooh, that Thor coming close. Keep in mind, Ravens are light units. There go the Seeker Missiles. He's actually going to throw 3 on that Thor. I'm not sure I agree with that, but these 3 spread-out Seeker Missiles on the tanks are going to be quite nice. Unfortunately, yeah, there we go. Spreading the Seekers out a little bit more, I think, is the best way to do it. Starting to take out a few more of them. Yeah, just kind of using the energy to trim away at the number of siege tanks that Ryung has. And that's kind of the best way to do it, is you want to make the Raven energy as cost-effective as humanly possible. I don't know about the Seeker Missile and the Thors, because those units, the Thors have so much health. It takes like crazy number of Seeker, like 4 direct hits to actually kill a Thor. And now we have LucifroN actually trying to step this tank line up. A pretty gutsy play. This battlecruiser is here, but LucifroN himself has so many Vikings and Ravens. We see actually 12 Ravens and 14 Vikings for LucifroN, whereas Ryung only has, well, he's got 17 now, but he only has 2 Ravens. And the Seeker Missile is being abused. Yeah, he's just throwing the Seeker Missile, spreading them out. The Hellbats trying to push in for LucifroN. These tanks are taking so much damage. There we go. Another set of Seeker Missiles is going to be set off, and they're just going to go right to town on these siege tanks. So much supply being lost by Ryung, basically purely on energy units. So free damage, I guess you could say, with the Seeker Missile. And this is a pretty good way to play Terran versus Terran. You get the contain, you slowly shove forward, and then you use the most cost-effective units to continue your aggression without needing to worry about overextending. And now we actually have LucifroN trying to put on a bit more pressure. The tanks have the vision. They are doing everything that they can. I do like the Thor usage, though. Thor's targeting down Ravens are actually very, very powerful versus them. And now we have a little bit of a fight here. Point defense drone's going up for both players. Ryung does not have quite as many Ravens. The Seeker Missiles are going to lock on some of those Vikings. We'll be able to pick a few of them off. Lots of damage being mixed in here. The other Vikings going to be able to get away. Some of them are going to land, taking some serious heat. And it does look like the Vikings are getting very, very low for our Axiom Terran player. LucifroN actually sacking a lot of his Ravens, but he has point defense drones available. He still has a couple Seeker Missiles, and LucifroN is going to win this air battle. And once you win the skies in a TvT match like this, it gives you a lot of options. The problem here is that LucifroN still doesn't really have his own way to abuse the air. He might have the air superiority in terms of Vikings, but he cannot abuse it right now. In fact, I'd really like them to just repair these Vikings, the ones available for Ryung. Not quite as strong, but the supply is now starting to dip a little bit in the favor of LucifroN. Ryung, though, he has the income. All he needs is the time, and he can really put out a lot of these units. We do see 3 battlecruisers in production now with that +3 ship weapons. And I feel like this is a very awkward type of situation to be in, as LucifroN, because you're like, well, do I move into Thors? Am I going to move into more Vikings and just play mech? Or am I going to try to join my opponent going for battle cruisers? Or will I do something really out of the blue and maybe try to throw in some Widow Mines for splash damage? Now, we do have the tanks approaching in on that center base for Ryung. The Vikings doing everything they can. There's still so many Ravens for LucifroN. He can throw down Seeker Missiles. If any of these siege tanks are clumped up, he can do so much damage. And we actually see him scanning. He's like, okay, well, I'm just going to pick off what I can as long as there's some sort of availability. And here we go. He's moving in the Ravens. He's moving in the everything now. He's still leaving a lot of the army back at home, but these Ravens are being such aggressively postured. I'm just waiting for the Seeker Missiles to start dropping on these siege tanks so that LucifroN can just punch on through the main defenses. The thing is, Ryung is adding on a lot of battle cruisers, and LucifroN already has the air superiority. He already has a ton of point defense drones available. I'm not 100% sure why Ryung is going to want to go for something like this when he knows his opponent has read him as far as an air transition goes, as far as the importance of having Vikings at the very least. We see scans going everywhere for both of these players. They need to know where the opposing armies are in order to even be able to come close to engaging. These armies are so volatile with so much firepower. But 10 Ravens here for LucifroN. He's actually going to be moving up to 14 total. This is absolute madness. Fusion Core going up for LucifroN as well. He wants to make the switch into battle cruisers, but he wants to do it later. Ryung does have the +3 ship plating, so his BCs are going to be very hard to kill. He also does have that +2 on the +2 for the ground attack and the air attack, and his +3 is coming in. So, what a crazy game! Battle cruisers being used to try to stop this harass, and I gotta say it's a pretty good anti-harass unit when your opponent can't even shoot it. Hellbats don't shoot up. They don't have any marauders to ride on the backpacks of. But there are still a lot of Vikings here for LucifroN, and this is going to be a big fight. The Seeker Missiles are getting thrown down. Will LucifroN be able to split his forces in time? Remains to be seen. It does look like Ryung is going to get the better side of this air engagement, and with those nice splits, his Viking count is slowly but surely starting to teeter a bit forward. There's some nice Seeker Missiles from LucifroN starting to really chip away at this. But I feel like if Ryung wins this air battle, that's going to be huge because he has the battle cruisers already. He has access to the tech. And that's all he really needs is an excuse to be able to go kill him, because he just needs to soften up a little bit more, and then he's going to be able to. But no such luck yet. LucifroN is going to be moving his SCVs up back towards that top base. He doesn't want to miss out on the mining too long. And there's more scans by LucifroN. These guys, the way that you play, you got to know where your opponent is at all times, 100% of the time. Because as soon as they slip outside your sight, the next thing you know, you got a bunch of tanks sieging outside your production, and that's it. Battlecruiser production? I don't think that's actually even started for LucifroN, no. He's just having the Fusion Core available to him in case he needs to break a massive tank line. But a lot of Thors for our mouse sports Terran, which is kind of interesting. He's built a good number of Thors so far this game. And of course, you can use the high impact payload against the battlecruisers. You can use... Ooh, that SCV that's a really crappy way to die. The Vikings for our Mouse Terran are coming in, really starting to chip away at this barracks. Man, talk about your stalemate scenarios. You should never be allowed to play TvT on this map. Absolutely absurd. I love that Ryung is just throwing up all these missile turrets. He's getting such a weird defense line. Both of these players are so committed to the air. It's actually kind of ridiculous, the setups that both these guys have. Just saying, well, I'm going to mine the map out. I'm just going to build missile turrets everywhere. You're not going to be able to just jump in on me. Raven does get picked off for Ryung. He's trying to go in and harass these other bases, it looks like, but there's just no options to do so. There's nothing available, really. This game has turned into like the ultimate turtle fest, and we actually see just more and more command centers for both of these guys. LucifroN's got a ton of command centers already. I mean, if you could actually just trade mules for money, then I guess that would be great. But this is one of the negatives of muling hard, is that you just don't have any money to mine later on in the game. And, well, the Siege Tanks are getting into a good position on that center-left base. LucifroN looking very, very strong here. This is going to be so hard to hold back the Viking 4. Our Terran player, Ryung, has been able to do quite a bit of damage. He's killed 8 workers. He's actually been kind of essential in this assault now. So many scans everywhere. 5 battlecruisers being made at once by Ryung. That's not a number you usually see. Especially in this matchup with how early most of the games end off of those Hellbatch output. LucifroN's going to make his first battlecruiser, and this Viking is still messing up a lot of things. The Thor is sent to deal with it. And just some good aggressive play here. LucifroN, he's trying to stay as good a position as possible. I feel like scanning this base is the best way for LucifroN to play, because I'm pretty sure he's not just barely out of tank range for some of these buildings to at least poke away at. Another attack shut down in the top right base by this Thor from LucifroN. And both players are maxed out again. The bigger bank is going to go to our Axiom Terran player, and that's going to help him quite a bit as far as trading these units away goes, as far as the longevity of being able to sustain games like this. But Ryung, he's just kind of chilling. He's got a lot of Vikings, he's got a lot of Ravens, he's got a lot of battlecruisers. And LucifroN, he kind of joined the battlecruiser party late, and that can often make somebody into a very, very sad person. But SCVs get pulled trying to fight, no luck. Utilizing the scan to get vision of that refinery is pretty nice, though. Being able to just target it away using that crazy siege tank range. And now we have just conditional Ravens. This game, man, this has been pretty intense. The intensity between these two must be quite palpable as far as the feelings go for this match. The more scans for both of these guys. They're scanning left and right. They don't even care. Basically know where that army is. But I'm curious what actually makes up the supply of both of these guys. Only 37 SCVs for Ryung, so that's actually really helps them. We see LucifroN starting to throw away even more. It becomes like a war of attrition. Whoever can throw away the most SCVs will win the game. But we see the mules being called in to activate the area of effect splash attack of the other siege tanks. Like, there's just some crazy meta stuff going on here. Now it does look like our Mouz team has actually laid siege to the the command center. It's actually gonna take quite a bit of damage. So not bad play at all from LucifroN, just forcing Ryung to deal with this sort of situation. And more battlecruisers coming in for LucifroN. I don't know if he can actually catch up on the battlecruiser count. He's currently at 2. We have 10 BCs in the field for Ryung. And the only weakness, of course, of BCs in Terran versus Terran is Vikings can literally kite them forever. So you do need some good Vikings to be able to back you up if you're going to play with this many battlecruisers. But now, Secret Missile's getting thrown in the air. He's trying to get some engagements here, but he's going to be able to dodge those. Some more Vikings do die in the top side of the map, though, for Ryung's party. And, well, here we go. A lot of Secret Missiles are going to be sent. Oh, LucifroN, you're clumping up so hard. He needs to spread a couple more of these units out. He's going to lose everything that he sent in there. But, oh, some great hits from LucifroN on Ryung's forces. The Vikings and the Thors trying to get some damage in here. I feel like LucifroN doesn't realize this splash damage attack on the Thors is not quite what you need versus the battlecruisers. But he's doing what he can. We have 12 Vikings in production at a time for Ryung. He really wants to take that air superiority back. But there's just so many Ravens for LucifroN. He's kind of been understanding the power of Ravens. He lost a lot of them in that fight, but I can't imagine he's going to play the game with this few of them after how many he had before. More Secret Missiles getting thrown down. Nothing going to be hit, unfortunately. So we actually have LucifroN killing off his own siege tanks. He's killing off a lot. LucifroN's killing off his own supply to be able to build more battlecruisers and Ravens, which I do really, really like. The more Ravens, the better. There's almost never a situation where having more Ravens is bad. You can always just spawn infinite missile turrets, of course. Point defense drones are pretty cool to hang out with when you're bored. And then if there's, well, that obvious streaming one, but Ryung, this is almost all in, just going for an attack because of how slow your army is. But he's gonna move in. His planetary fortress shouldn't be able to last too long. And well, Secret Missile's going down on LucifroN's Vikings. Ooh, how much damage is going to take? A lot dying here for both of these players. Ryung and LucifroN, man, just really going at it. These Thors just really occupying the battle cruisers. And the thing is, LucifroN's Viking count actually has dropped quite significantly. I don't think LucifroN can stop this. Ryung, he got the perfect composition. He's got so much stuff. Pretty crazy stuff, guys. He's going to land the Vikings. He's just going to take out these command centers in LucifroN. Well, I mean, there's not really enough money to do anything crazy with, but he does have the money banked up from those the other places of yore. So it's completely possible that oh man, I don't know. This is gonna be rough. The supply is going up quite quickly for LucifroN. He's banking up his own battle cruisers. I'm curious where he's sending them. Oh, there we go. Now he's gonna move everything in. He has no choice but to stand and deliver. He's taking a lot of damage. LucifroN, though, sieging up that middle left base, doing everything humanly possible, but I just don't know. The Seeker missiles are going to go down on Ryung's battle cruisers. They will not be able to get away because of how big they are, but I don't think that's going to be enough to actually kill them off. And Ryung is parked over the production of LucifroN, getting out the units to stop this. He's going to be brutal. He has his units actually rallied out, and he's going to come in here. He's trying to do a bit of extra damage, but this is so difficult. He is finally being able to take out the battle cruisers of LucifroN, and Ryung going to be able to force out a bunch of mules to be called from him, and he's actually going to call on a ton of repair mules on this battle cruiser. These Thors doing everything that they can to try to kill this off, but no dice just yet. And LucifroN calling down even more mules to repair for himself on these Thors. He's doing everything possible. LucifroN's bank is dropping. So Ryung's supply is also dropping very quickly, but Ryung is also spending his bank, and he had a slightly larger one in the very beginning of this entire setup. The Vikings doing everything that they can, but LucifroN, he's oh no, don't land the Vikings versus these. Well, I guess he still has the support of this battle cruiser, but the Thors just wreck these Vikings like nothing. And now we do see another battle cruiser come out for LucifroN. It is 3-3-3 versus the 3-3-3 of his opponent, and of course that 3-3-3 mech coming in very handy in this this fight, as it were. And Ryung, man, he's just blowing down these missiles are at wall left and right. More scans of both of these players. These turret rings around the center of the field are actually kind of cool to see, but the tanks are going to start to push through for Ryung. And I don't know quite what LucifroN's plan is going to be here, but Ryung he's playing in top form today. He's definitely looking a little bit more like his former self when he made quite that tear through the GSL at IPL 5. He's trying to find that niche in Heart of the Swarm that he can occupy, that style that suits him perfectly. But well, Ryung's finally gonna be able to take a tower for the first time in about 5 years. Now he's going for the other one, trying to see what he can do. Man, talk about your stalemates. These guys, neither of them willing to budge an inch. This match, I hope you guys brought some popcorn or something, because this is absolutely ridiculous. More siege tanks getting in position for Ryung. He's trying to get some maybe hits off on the Thors, but it's not going to work. There are a lot of Ravens out now, though, for Ryung. He's got everything that he can have, but LucifroN, I don't know. He's in a very rough spot. He's having a hard time maxing out on the supply. He did have a smaller bank before. He has a lot of minerals floating right now, but the problem is that's not what he needs. LucifroN doesn't need minerals. He's not hurting for Hellions. He's not hurting for Hellbats. He's hurting for the actual good units. You know, the siege tanks, the Thors, the battle cruisers. If you try to spread yourself too thin on that, you can run out of money and patience quite fast. But nothing 100% quite yet. Sending out the Ravens. Maybe we're going to go for some Seeker missiles or something crazy. And here we go. Ryung's just going to try to push in. LucifroN holding off as best he can. We see the point defense zones, the Seeker missiles. I don't like targeting the battle cruisers with the Seekers, but They are going to go in here, and a lot of damage is being taken by both of these players. Supply is still so close, but it looks like Ryung is going to barely come out on top of LucifroN. He had a lot of units on the ground. Those Thors were not in the single fire target mode, and for their anti-air, they have now switched to that mode, and LucifroN is actually starting to take a bit of the supply. It's starting to take some of the bigger hands here in terms of the supply that's being split. And Ryung, he might actually be forced back now in a fantastic hold from LucifroN, but oh my god, this game is ridiculous. I don't even... 12 more Vikings coming out for Ryung. He is saying that the Vikings for you are dead. Air superiority is mine. And that is why LucifroN is committing so much to the Thors. Absolutely absurd army composition. And this could be it. LucifroN, he's trying to press forward here, but no, he's going to retreat. He realizes he's behind, which is a very intelligent thing to be able to do. But it's going to be so difficult. I don't know. I don't even know what to think about this game anymore. This is absurd. These Thors coming in here. He's going to switch more of them to the high impact payload mode. LucifroN realizing that this mode is not, in fact, a joke and actually helps quite well. Meal's being called down, though, on Ryung's tanks. I like that. He's forcing the friendly fire damage upon himself. Very nice. He's using the siege tanks to pick up some SCVs as well. They're just fighting each other in the center of the map. And Ryung, he's going to try to pressure this top base of LucifroN. This is LucifroN's chance to steamroll this. Here he comes. He's got a lot of Thors, a lot of Hellbats, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. The ground units for LucifroN starting to deal a ton of damage. And he's going to be able to push through most of the ground forces, but oh no, the Vikings are going to land. Landing Vikings versus Thors, not the smartest play here. And LucifroN's going to be able to clean this army up. There are a couple of battle cruisers. All the secret missiles are being thrown onto these Thors. He really wants to kill this off. He's trying to actually get his Thor underneath the battle cruisers, but it also takes the area of effect damage. But there's the meals being called down for LucifroN. Not manor meals, they are repair meals. Not there in time just yet, but now on top of the other Thor. And that's what you need to be able to secure that, at least the health of your units. More Thors coming out for LucifroN. But damn, this game. LucifroN looks like he's gearing up to go for another push towards the center base. He got a lot of Hellbats, almost pure Hellbat in this army with a single Thor and an SCV. And he's going to be able to force the liftoff on this base, so not bad play. And I think it's important for LucifroN to keep Ryung on his toes, to not let him get comfortable for even a second. And LucifroN, you know, he's managed to not overextend like crazy this game, and that's the only way you can come back versus you know, in this kind of situation where your opponent has the tech lead and that air superiority. But LucifroN, he's just kind of chilling towards the center tower. He's not up to too much. And he's going to come in here to push this center base again, at least deny it with all these Thors and these Hellbats. But how exactly is he going to do that? He might just let the Thor attack that command center. But aside from that, he doesn't have too many other options. Just drop mules and I don't know. Just try to steal as much of it away as he can. And then he's actually going to drop these mules onto the allied siege tanks, trying to get that splash damage in. And at this point, the money is so low that either of these guys would gladly give almost anything to deny their opponent a little bit of cash. LucifroN, though, he's got a lot of Thors. He has so many Hellbats, but Ryung, he doesn't have quite as many Hellbats. I feel like that's like a weird love story plot about who has more Hellbats. And well, it does look like LucifroN's going to need to try to deal with this this setup right now from Ryung. He's got a lot of Ravens now mixed in with his battle cruisers in terms of the actual unit compositions. We have 4 Thors out for LucifroN. He's going to be going for a 5th. Those 3 Marines he made earlier, 2 Vikings, and 46 Hellbats. LucifroN doing everything that he can, but Ryung has just kind of been one step ahead of him this entire game. Is he going to be able to actually win the big fight, though? That's so difficult to call. And behind this, both players have the same infrastructure. The setup is the same with the armory, but people guys play this game both so differently. And now here we go. A lot of secret missiles. The Yamato's coming in. Ryung getting hit with a lot of throwing down these secret missiles. Actually managed to take the supply lead, really chewing through everything that LucifroN has. And Ryung, he's going to try to actually push through this. The LucifroN has the supply, has a lot of army supply, but he's got so many Hellbats, I don't even know anymore. I think Ryung has managed to secure this match. He doesn't have anything else behind this. He throws on the mules, and that's GG Ryung. Opening up 2-0 now against Mouz Sports. And man, talk about a game to cast. Oh my god, I don't know if I want to cast anymore for the rest of the week after that. Aside from, of course, DreamHack that I'm going to be doing this weekend. But wow, what a long game. Congratulations there on that map for Ryung, just going completely crazy. That was some great game right there. Oh my god. We'll take you to the next game as soon as we can, guys. You're watching the Acer TeamStory Cup. I'm your caster for today for English, Nathanias, and thank you so much for tuning in.